I could have been better, but yeah, thanks for it. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good too. I'm good. Same
Nice.
here also.
Yeah, could have been better,
Yeah.
huh? Yeah. So I was reading somewhere like, how are you doing? I'm good has become such a common greeting now. So people don't even realize that even if they are not doing good, they still say, subconsciously that I'm doing good. So no one says
Yeah.
I'm not doing good.
One of my stakeholder, he used to say, "I'm okay."
Uh-huh.
I was wondering, like, what it's like. Is it like okay means you are fine, or is it you are just coming out of something? Then he told me like, I'm bored of saying I'm good. I'm happy. Even though
Yeah.
I'm saying good and happy, what are you going to do? So
Yeah.
just be like, let it be as I'm okay.
No, yeah, that's the thing, na. So,
That's
what
right.
I'm looking for a
Mm.
word. So, truth, is lost somewhere, just because we are so used to saying, "I'm okay, I'm doing good." So,
Yes. Yes.
no one likes to work, right? So everyone is coming to office, dragging their feet around, doing the work, going back, and then look into the personal matters and so and so forth.
Mm.
So, not
Nowadays,
everyone is
people,
enjoying life, yeah, but
right.
still, but
Nowadays, the client also knows now, right? Now you are asking how are you in the initial. You know, you were just asking for some like formality and all.
yeah.
They, they don't even like being asked like how are you doing. I hope you are doing well. I'm even taking those things out of my conversation as well as in my like emails.
Mm-hmm.
Just straight away on to the point. This is what we're working on. We are looking for this. Could you able to help us? That's it.
Yeah, no, even I feel sometimes so for example, if I am having a regular meeting with someone, right? So
Mhm.
uh, in the initial days, we'll be asking, okay, how are you doing? How are you doing? And after a while, it's like, okay, come straight to the point. These are the tickets we have worked on. This is something we have worked on. This is queries we have.
Right.
So, so yeah, that's
Yeah, that's better actually. Yeah.
and moreover, the meeting times are getting shorter and shorter, right? So people earlier used to give 1 hour, 2 hours, and I hardly see any, long meetings nowadays. Even if they're brainstorming sessions or those kind of things, until and unless it's a workshop, I've seen people try to cut short down on their meeting timings. And even
Yeah.
some people, what they have started doing is, I'm not sure if it's happening in your organization or not, but what people have started doing is they have started, keeping the sessions for 50 minutes or 55 minutes, just to give 5 minute break before the person jumps over to the next meeting. Because otherwise,
Right.
there are back-to-back meetings happening, especially
No,
in our profile.
part of
So,
the- Right. Right.
so it becomes quite tiresome, you are talking about something and then straight over you go to another meeting and talk about something else. You don't even get a breather, right? So people have started, keeping their meetings for 55 minutes or 50 minutes to give a 10-minute break to the, people to
Right.
go get
Nowadays,
a coffee, get
these
a coffee.
meetings are also getting like shorter now, right? So we
Yeah.
I'm not attending so many meetings like how I used to be.
And
Nowadays,
that's
we are just
actually
getting the
good.
requirement, documenting, and that's it.
Yeah, that's actually good. So,
Mm.
earlier there are used to be so many meetings, and not every meeting is productive, right? So, for
Right.
example, there
Correct.
is a project manager and he wants to get a status update. What he'll do is he'll get 15 people, 20 people in the room and ask what you have done, what you have done, what you have done, right? And then there
Right.
comes another project manager, maybe from client side or from onshore side or somewhere else, and that project manager also needs an update. So what he'll do is he'll call another set of 15, 20 people to attend and ask the same questions, right? So
Right.
why
Right.
you are not directly reaching out to the project manager who has taken an update in the morning, right? That you should do that. Why you are calling each and every person to ask
Mm.
for an update? So uh, I was in a project, and what used to happen is in the morning we used to have a meeting with Indian project manager. In the
Mm.
afternoon, we used to have a meeting with our onshore project manager, and then 4 p.m., 5 p.m., we used to have a meeting with the client project manager who wants to take an update, and everyone is invited to that meeting. So 3 to 4 meetings are just to give a status update. If you are giving status update for 2 hours, but when are you doing the work? That's a big question, right?
Right. Right. But nowadays the Scrum Master is taking like more responsibility. They are the one going around the developers and the testers.
Mhm.
So I mean,
That
I can
that
see
should be the case.
some kind of change. Yeah, some kind of change between this project wise and as well as like organization wise. So in in my last company, I used to like follow up with everyone. I used to go around with everyone. In all the meetings, I'll be there.
Mhm.
But here now I got moved to Infosys. So here it's I mean I don't know whether this is because of the project. There is nothing you can do. You can do you can write user stories, you can gather requirements, and you can give a small walkthrough, and that's it. You don't need to go into anything. But I'm taking responsibility on uh, user acceptance validations as well. So that's it.
Mhm.
You don't need to
Mhm.
be part of any of the technical items. If they are not able to finish those technical items, they are not asking you now.
Okay.
At least that is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt a similar situation in one of my previous projects. Yeah, so it was like so that time we didn't used to write reuser stories. We used to write a BRDs and FSDs. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I used to write BRD and I gave it to the development team. I give a walkthrough and that's it, right? No one is going
Yep.
to come
That's it.
back and ask me, I have this query or I have something. Maybe 6 months, 8 months down the line, they'll come. Okay, UAT has started, and your
Mhm.
user has this question, or can you provide UAT support for the requirement you have written 8 months back? So
Correct.
the team used to completely work in isolation. So I was speaking to my BA manager, and I was like. It was long time back, few years back, yeah. And I was like, I feel orphaned that they have cut down me from the project altogether because just because I have moved over to some other project and some other requirement. I feel that they have made kicked me out of the house.
That's actually one of the what do you call disadvantage of being like this. Sometimes you'll be feeling like okay, I'm not part of the team.
Mhm. Yeah,
But only
no,
at the time of you are giving a refinement or you are giving a walkthrough on the user story and what the user story exactly do. So
yeah.
last PA we are just following this PA thing of agile, right? So each PA it will be continue of like 6 months or something. So for the last PA, I mean for this current PA, I did the my work on the last PA, and then I don't
Mhm.
have any work now. I'm just simply like chilling.
Mhm. Yeah. No, so BA
Yeah.
profile is like you have to, work ahead of the team. So when I
Yep.
said that, they are not reaching out to me for anything and other things. So my manager was like, do you have time to answer their queries? If they reach out to you, you yourself will be coming to me and say that, should I work on this or should I work on that? Because, the time gets divided or, time gets lost like anything. So when you are working on, one thing, it's very difficult to manage several other things which you have worked on previously. So, but yes, he did talk to the project manager and, then sorted out the
Mm.
things. Things became a bit better for sure. But yeah, that's a harsh reality, right? So BAs have to work ahead. They have to, keep moving over to the new set of requirements, even if they are in the same project or they sometimes get a different project, and basically they are working on something which is upcoming, which is new, and it gets a bit tricky to keep track of what's happening on the things that you have worked before. So it
Mm-hmm.
depends on your skills, basically. So
Correct.
whenever you meet some developer, go and check with the developer, okay, what's happening with this thing I worked on, and where we have reached. So you have to take informal feedback, informal uh, you know um, uh, you have to say, do you need my help, or is there anything I can clarify for you? So you yourself have to go and check with them. Otherwise sometimes they won't even come back to you.
Right. Right. That's correct.
Mhm. um
Mm.
Someone requested for a session on BA role in consultancy and implementation and how the two roles differ, right? But I don't
Mm-hmm.
see that person here, and it's just you and me, right? So, what do you want to
Yeah.
do? Do you want to talk about the same topic? Do you want to drop off the session, or do you want to talk about maybe something else?
There's something I want to discuss, but I thought
Mhm.
today's session I will be maybe asking you later. But there is this requirement. I don't see anyone joining, but so I'm asking this. So there is this
Mhm.
requirement for biometric information. Okay, so
Okay.
we need to integrate it with an API, which is an third-party API.
Mm-hmm.
So we sliced out the user story. So the whole journey will be like for a customer who forgets his password and his security number. So we are introducing an biometric thing, and we are introducing new screens for the login. So how I advise them to slice the user stories is like, let's take the UI items separately, and then let's take this like this implementation. I mean, this like integration between our system with the third party system. So we have separated like with that. So the UI in one separate feature, and this particular item in another feature, and then the once this validation is done, how it's supposed to work. So that was another part of a, a future. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking whether do we need to keep like what are the documentations we need to have, because I only have a documentation of a sample. I mean, it will be like a very simple one. It's like with the requirement and what was the scope and what was the items that were coming under this and what are the screens getting involved. Those are the items I have documented it. But I feel I am missing out something. I could have added more into the into this like documentation.
Mm-hmm.
The user stories are all done, and I have given walkthrough now. So now we have completed with uh, the like UI screens. So that particular part is done. So now currently team is working on some discovery items on how to do the integration between the third party system and the like on premises system. So that's what they are doing now. So
Mm-hmm.
going forward, how we can take this up, like I need to create again stories for how, but I have added all the stories, like how the journey should be, what will be the starting point, and what needs to be like validated, and what is the result we are looking for. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now I need to create a diagram for each of these scenarios, or do I need to jump into more in spite of the user stories? I'm practically stuck in that level because I have like decided this and I have written like user stories on this. But what is going to happen next? That's where I'm just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
stuck.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I understand your problem, and I'm
Mhm.
understanding the topic as requirement documentation in an integration project.
Right,
Yeah?
right,
That's what you are exactly looking for, right?
right,
So
right.
whatever I'm going to talk about, right? So some of
Mhm.
the things you might have already done, right? So for example, if I'll say you have to write user story, so this is you have already done, right? But
Yes, yes.
just for the sake of completeness, right? So
Mhm.
you have done something, but others might not have done it, right? So, but when
Mhm.
I'm going to talk about requirement documentation and an integration project,
Mhm.
I'm going to cover it completely, right? From starting till end,
Right.
what are the different phases, what documents are expected in each phase. Yeah,
Mhm.
some of it you might have done it, some of you might not have done it. Yeah, so maybe the
Mhm.
phase is already over, like you have said, UI phase is already over, right?
Right,
But
right,
it will also give you an idea on what you could have done better, right? So that next
right,
time
right.
whenever you have a project, you
Mhm.
will know about it, and you will go with it. Yeah. Uh,
Right, right.
Let me do that. Let me just take a minute. I can see Sauce, listening in. So,
Mhm.
Sauce, we were supposed to talk about BA role in consultancy and implementation, but because the person doesn't turn up, we are now switching over to the topic of requirement documents in an integration project. I hope that's fine with you. Yeah. Um, so I made you a speaker. Please feel free to join us on stage, and during the conversation, if you have any queries, feel free to ask. Okay. So let me make a start. Um, so first of all, integration project. What we can first of all, let's understand the project. Yeah. So integration is a project wherein you are working on one system, and this system is sending some information to the other system, and that other system is returning some information to your system, and then you are doing something on top of that information. Yeah, that's the crux of an integration project. There are two
Right.
types of projects. One is one-way integration and second is two-way integration. When I say one-way integration, it means you are sending something, you are getting a response, and then you are doing something with the response. But if I say two-way integration, so this response can be just a okay or pass or fail, right? So that response is not giving you any information. So if you are saying one-way integration, you are just saying, I am sending you this information, are you good with it? And that response is yes, I'm good, or no, it failed. For example, if I'm sending some information for some downstream system, yeah, so there is a system that is capturing maybe information of customer data. Yeah, and then there is another system which reports on the customer data. So you have to pass on this customer data information to the other system. So once you send the information, that's it, right? You are not expecting to do something in your system now. Your purpose was to just send the information one way. So you have sent the information to the other system. Now the reporting will be done on the other system. That's another story altogether, but you don't expect a return back. You are not expecting some values back. Yeah, that's one way integration. If I talk about two-way integration, that means where you are getting a response, but in this response you are getting some values, and those values needs to be brought into your system, and then they will impact your system. Yeah, for example, if I am sending, I'm from insurance background, so I take insurance examples. So if I'm sending customer data to a rating system, this rating system is telling me how much premium I need to charge. Yeah, so that there is a two-way communication. If they are giving me premium information, I'm expecting an amount. But let's say if they give me a negative value, or if they give me a ABC, right? So a text, then I might even get an invalid response, right? So there is a two-way communication. I'm sending them information, but I'm also getting a information return back. It's not just a simple yes or no, that yes, the information is good, or we have noted down the information. It's not just okay or pass or fail kind of a response. It's a information which is coming back, and you have to do something based on that information. That's a two-way integration that happens. Both cases, you will send a request and you will get a response. So if I talk about different phases of, or different modules in an integration project, the first module is capturing the information in your system. How you are going to capture the information? It is possible that the information is already being captured, because of some past enhancements. But still, it's a module. You have to understand where the information will be coming from. Do you need some more information to be captured or to be logged in the system? And where you will capturing the information? In your examples, even it's a login screen, right? So the ID and the password will be captured in the first login screen. That's where the information is being captured. Second thing that we talk about in integration projects is what information do we need to send to the other system. Yeah, in your case it will be ID and password that you will be sending across. In some other system it may be the customer data. In some other system it may be whole lot of 50, 20, 100 pieces of information that you're sending to the other system. That's the request part, what you are sending in a request. That's what we call request. So in a request, what all information you are sending, that's the phase 2. Third phase is the response. What information you are getting back in the response. If it's a one-way integration wherein you are just sending the information in the request, the response will be yes or no, pass or fail, that kind of a simple response. If it's a two-way integration, your response will be much more than that, right? They might give you 10 data points, or they might give you 50 data points. They might return whole set of values or whole set of text can be there in your response. So that's the phase 3, what you are expecting out of that system. And then fourth phases or fourth module in an integration project is, what do you want to do with the response? If it's a one-way integration, maybe you don't do anything at all, right? You send the information, it's passed 99% of the time, and you don't do anything. If it's failed, then maybe you have to do something, or inform, maybe create some logs, or inform the customer that this didn't happen. So both cases you have to cater for. Yeah, what is a positive scenario, what is a negative scenario. If it's a good response, what you will do. Even fail is a good could be a good response in some cases. But if it's there is a technical error, or if it's a failed response you have received, how you are going to deal with it. Most of the people, what they do is they only focus on the positive response. So what will happen if I get the information back, how I am going to deal with the system, and they completely ignore the last bit, which is, what if I don't get the information back at all in a correct sense. I'm expecting an amount of 100, but I'm getting ABC instead, right? How I'm going to deal with these cases. So exception handling is an important aspect which is mostly forgotten. I've seen many people forgetting about the exception handling or error handling. What will happen if an error comes? It could be possible that I'm not even able to send the request. Yeah. But if it's a one way kind of a project, I might not be expecting a response back. But still, I have to figure out what to do if my request itself didn't went through because of some technical issue or not. So the response handling is the fourth bit. And again, stressing upon it, you have to handle both positive scenario and negative scenario. Error handling should and must be a part of your integration project. Good so far? Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, it's good so far. I'm getting like what I'm missing out, so I can understand now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now.
In fact, this is a two-way integration actually. Like you said, we are getting a
Hmm.
response back if it's a
Hmm.
success. We are getting an information from the validation point of view, some data, and
Hmm.
we are using the same data to do the validation from the internal system. So
Yes.
yes,
So
yeah, yeah,
your request, in your example, your request will be ID and password which has been sent, or maybe because ID and password is not working, so you are sending maybe a username, right? And along with that, you might be sending a thumbprint scan, because it's an
yeah, yeah,
authentication system. And
yeah.
so your request will be your thumbprint scan, and your response will be the username, right? So if I'm sending a thumbprint, and the response is saying this thumbprint belongs to Shipra Gupta, so that's your response. So it's a two-way integration.
Right, you're right.
Okay. Now let's talk about the documentation. Yeah, so the first phase, when we are saying where the information will be captured or how you are capturing the information. So in this phase, there has to be a screen involved. Yeah, there has to be a system or a screen. Most of the cases, I won't say always, because it could be a database kind of a thing as well, where the information is already present in the database and you are just directly picking up the information from the database already. Yeah. But most of the time, there will be a screen involved. So you will have to design the screen. So in your case, it could be a login screen wherein ID and password fields are already there, but maybe you want to introduce a link saying that, upload your biometric scan, or upload your thumbprint. Yeah. So where or how you're going to capture the information, that's the area you need to focus on. Of course, there will be user stories that you will be writing, that user should be able to go to the screen, click on this link, and then how they're going to upload maybe upload a picture. If you click on upload, there will be a browser window wherein you can select your file, you can then upload it. System will should check if it's in the correct format or not, right? So maybe you are expecting a JPG image, but you are getting a PDF instead, right? So is it a readable format of the file or not? So all the validations and everything that you will note down in your user story. uh, Another document that you can create here is your user experience screens. Yeah. So either it will be a wireframe wherein you will just create on a blank paper that there is a box, there is ID and password, and underneath there is a link to upload the thumbprint scan. Or it could be a wireframe, or it could be a UX person involved who will design the actual screens, and will tell the end-to-end flow of this is how the user will go in and log in, and click here, upload this picture, there will be a browser window. So UX will give the entire experience. So screen designing is an important aspect. You can either do it via wireframes or UX, and that should be part of your user stories. Yeah, you can refer. You should attach your these diagrams to your user stories. You can also create some flow diagrams to say that user on the login page. There has to be an option here. User will click it. User will. So you can just create some boxes also around it, but you cannot skip the UI here, right? You have to show how the information will be captured, where it will be placed. The box will be below this box or above this box, like that. So all that capturing of information, you will have to document. Any questions?
No, Sapra. This is fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you created UX diagrams? Sorry, UX flows
Yes,
or?
using Figma. Yeah, yeah. We have this. The
Hmm.
screens have been the updated screens or the new screens are
Hmm.
created under Figma, and we decided upon the font and the logos what needs to be there, and then so
Yeah.
that's what I said, right? We have the flow. We have the flow that happens before the verification. But the once the verification start, right? The third party integration. So that's the
Hmm.
flow we are currently working on. Or we are trying to understand whether we can create our own screens or we can like use the screens that was there from the third party side. And the only thing is we need to make sure the customers have to be understood that this is happening within the same system. So that's
Right.
what we are looking for. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And even
Right.
you
Right.
have to tell the developers and QC, how to navigate and how to provide the required information.
Yes, we are creating acceptance criteria using the Gherkin language now. And
Hmm.
there we will explain all the scenarios like what was the positive ones. The like negative ones we handed over to the the testing team, but we just let them know like when it is not working, like what kind of the error that has to come up. But there's an API integration, right? So we need to make sure like for the each of the like error codes what needs to be shown in the stream. So that's the one you also mentioned, so that I need to keep a note of it. And
Hmm.
I think I start working on this. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that you can do is check out the data dictionary. Yeah. So if there is a data dictionary already present, so maybe in your case it's not relevant because you are uploading a pictures, let's say. But in some
Yeah.
cases where you are capturing the information for an integration project, you might want to create a data dictionary of, or you might want to update an existing data dictionary of the fields that you will be working on. Yeah. So for example, it's a completely new project altogether, so you are introducing 50 or 100 data points. You should create a data dictionary of these are the fields, which screen they belong to, whether they are mandatory or optional, or whether they are conditional, whether they will be editable or non-editable or calculated fields, what business rules will apply on these fields, what validations will apply on these fields. Yeah. So we take an example that you are uploading a picture, whether the file is in correct format or not, or a recognizable format or not. That's a validation you are entering in the system, right? So not only in the user stories, you have to create a document where you will, have this validation. Believe me, very few people go back to user stories and try to figure out, how the system functionality is supposed to work. They prefer having a handy document wherein they can just double click the document and it will straightforward tell them, okay, these are the set of validations available in the system. Yeah. So if you have noted down the validations across, let's say, 100 stories, and I am searching for a particular validation, maybe a blank search won't work because the terms are very similar, or the validations are around the same words. Yeah. So I may not get a very good result if I'm searching across user stories. But if I have a document handy which will tell me all the validations that are out there in the system, yeah, all the 200, 300 validations are noted down in a single Excel file, it becomes very easier for a support person or from an implementation point of view to refer to this document and just straightforward say, okay, this is the validation. We need to, maybe create a similar validation, or we may want to remove this validation, or we may want to add a new validation to this document. Yeah. So always have a document which will at least, even if you are not having a data dictionary, I'll always suggest having a document which will note down the validations which are there out there in the system, because that's the tricky part. That's the information that gets lost. Fields you can see in the screen, behavior you can see in the screen, right? But which fields have which validation? So for example, there might be a validation if you enter a value above 1 million in this field, system will give you an error, right? How will you know about this validation until and unless by chance you entered a value of 2 million or 3 million and system ended up giving you a validation? Otherwise you can see the field, you can see, okay, it's an editable field, this field is mandatory, I'm not able to proceed. So you can reverse engineer your screens to get a data dictionary kind of a thing, right? But getting the validations which are out there in the system, either you know ask someone to extract them technically, and sometimes they'll give you an information in such a logical way that you are not able to pass on that information to your client because it's not business terms, and then you end up noting down each validation and converting it into a business terms if you are creating a data dictionary later on, right? So I always suggest, even if you are not having a data dictionary, that's okay. You can see that those fields on the screen, but validations are the tricky part. You should have somewhere noted down, these are the validations which apply to the fields in my system, because those are the ones which gets very tricky to reverse engineer from the screens.
Yeah, I created some of the flow diagrams.
Mhm.
Tried. I have used this draw.io from the Confluence, and I created some image representation of how, like, what is the flow for each of the scenario, and then there is no like fields that needs to be updated because these are all like existing fields. We are only updating the design. But
Mhm.
for the scenarios, I have created a separate page and I created a separate uh, whiteboard kind of a thing, as well as draw.io images to
Mhm.
make sure like which screen will just come up at which point of time and how we are going with the flow. But yeah, maybe you're right. This validation should be there, like what fields and what needs to be done, what will be the like expected result instead of physical representation. I think something has to be noted down as well.
Mhm. Yeah, so screens are giving a user experience. They have a different purpose altogether, right? But a list of all the validations that you are going to introduce in the system, your file size, let's say you are uploading a file, right? So your file size should not be more than maybe 8 MB, or your
Right.
file size,
Okay.
file format cannot be, or file type cannot be other than an Excel file or a PDF file or a JPG image. Yeah, those kind of validations you are introducing. So you should create a separate document to note down the validations. So if you are saying a ID and password, right? So passwords cannot be more than 16 characters, or password cannot be less than 8 characters. Password cannot must include a special character, like that, right? It must include a numeric digit. So those kind of validations you are creating. So there has to be a document which will list out all these validations which are out there on your screens that you are working on.
Okay. Okay. I'll note it down. Okay. That-
Yeah,
This will be helpful. Yeah. Yeah, I will create it. Yeah.
that will be helpful.
Yeah.
So whenever you are working on a project, always think from support perspective. Yeah, I've spent an entire decade working in support, so I know the pain of support teams. Yeah, so whenever support team gets a project, there is hardly any documentation which is useful for them. Yeah, and people always appreciate me, when I pass over a project to them, because I always give them, a ready reference point. Yeah, so you don't need to go and look into the user stories. Just go to this document and it will answer all your queries. But now it is up to you to maintain this document. But first of all, I give them a data dictionary, I give them a business rule document, I always give them some idea on the UX screens. I some give them a document around the workflows, right? So I'm very strong in documentation, and I always pass on all the documentation to them. So they really appreciate it, because they don't need to dig into the user stories and try to. So user stories, what happens is that there is a user story, you refer to it. Yeah, but later on, someone will tell you, we override this functionality because we created another story. And those two stories, if the proper linking is not there, you might not even know that the other story exists, because you are searching across and its system is only giving you one story, right? So it's very easy to miss out things when you're looking from the story perspective. But if there are documents which are always up to date, it's very easy to go grab that document and get the information straight away. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So try to have
This
a
is where
data
I was
dictionary.
got confused. Like, what are the documents that we need to keep in handy to make
Mhm.
it's more effective? No, like since I said I have done the user story part and all these things, don't have
Mhm.
much work for this PA. But still, I was thinking, no, we should have done something. There's
Mhm.
like something missing. Now I got like what needs to be done. I
Yeah.
have one hell load of work to do.
Yeah, try creating a data dictionary if you can. Yeah, that will be really
Yeah, yeah.
helpful to the team.
Sure, sure, sure. Yes.
Yeah. So
Thanks, Sushant. Yeah.
especially look across the stories, right? So if there is anything that you are repeating, right? For example, validations or business rules that you are repeating across different user stories. Try to create one document which will be a ready reference for all those rules that you are creating. Business rules is just one example. There can be other examples. I can't recall anything right now, but there, if you're seeing a trend across different user stories, that different user stories are talking about something common. Yeah, it could be user flow, right? So they are saying go to the screen, do this, go to the screen, do that. So what you might want to do is create one screen with all the different links that you have talked about in 10 different stories. Yeah, so see the commonality across user stories and try to create a document out of this commonality, right? So that will be really helpful to the team. Data dictionary is just a very frequently used example in my case, but yeah, try to figure out what's very common, what's the common theme. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Okay, I think that this much level of information will be sufficient. So you have covered your requirements in the user stories. You have created a UX. You might have created some wireframes. You might have created a data dictionary. You might have created a workflow, and that probably covers everything about the first phase which I'm talking about. That is capturing the information on screens.
Right, Sushant. Yes, yes.
Now, let's talk about the second phase. The second phase, what was it? It was the request phase. Yeah, you are sending the request to the third party service provider. So, the very first thing that you will need is the XML or the JSON or whatever is the format of the request. Yeah. So, even if it's technical, yeah, so don't think that it's a technical thing. Why should I have it? Just ask for it from your technical team and try to go through it, and you will see that there might be some header, there might be some footer, but the information underneath or the core of the this JSON or the XML is very easy for you to read. Yeah. Why? Because it's just going to be a list of data points that you have to send across. Yeah. So get that XML from your dev team, get that JSON from your dev team or whatever format it is. Yeah. Just ask them to give it to you, that you are creating an API request. You know what the information that you are going to send across. Can you give me a snapshot of it? And try to just understand it. You might realize that there might be other things that this XML offers which you might not be aware of. Yeah, let me give you an example. So, for example, you have to send a customer information to the third party service provider. And what you are doing is you are saying, okay, send me the name, send me the address, send me the nationality, send the date of birth, maybe the date of establishment of the organization, maybe, whether it's an individual or whether it's an organization. So, you may be sending the type. Yeah, so you have these 10, 20 fields on your screen and you have listed down, okay, these are the fields that I need to send across. Now, when you request, and there is the second system, with whom you are integrating. So the second system is having some exposed APIs or something, uh, the list of fields that they can handle, right? So when you go through this document or this XML or JSON or whatever it is, you will realize that 50 pieces of information I'm already sending across. But this system can also take down another set of 20 fields, yeah, which I don't even have in my system. Then what you can do is you can go back to the customer and at least ask them, do you want to capture this information and send it across as well? So if I take an example of the customer, information that we are sending, so we are sending name, address, date of birth, and other things, and you might realize the other system does allow you to send capture the id type and id value. So you can send passport number and the can say I'm sending passport number and the number of it. You can say Aadhaar and you can send Aadhaar number. You can say ERN and ERN number, like that, right? So you can have different IDs or different numbers you can send across, which you may not be capturing in your system altogether, but the other system offers that if you want to do that, you can do that. So that will give you more information on the points that you can ask your client, do you want to capture this in the screen and then send it across to increase the quality of the response that you are getting from the third party service provider. In your case, authentication, right? So maybe you are thinking, I'll send the thumbprint, but the other system also allows you to send the scan of your eye or retinal information. I'm just taking some examples from the movies. Yeah, but you can also send the scan of your eye, right? You were not even aware that that's possible, but once you start looking into the request, that that can make you realize, okay, that is also possible. So maybe I'll add another feature for scanning, sending a retinal scan. Does that help?
Yes, yes, this is helpful. Yeah,
Yeah. So have you
yeah,
looked
yeah.
into the XML, or you have not looked into the XML?
Yeah, as of now, we haven't gone to that level yet. As I said, now only they have started the discovery was, but I have documented the the result that was given from the third party system because it was there in their like website. So I
Hmm.
just Googled their website and try to see what was their API type and what are the values they are like returning and how's their response going to be. So I
But that's the
documented those.
response. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the response,
yeah,
right?
that's the response. But
Yeah.
from
The-
our request side,
Hmm.
I know like what are the values we are going to send. It will be the customer's document and his facial details.
Mhm.
So that will be sent as an input, and the IBID will be there already because they have like logged it. So we will be sending the IBID along with these two infos. So from the documentation, they will be sending back some of the details we are looking
Hmm.
for the second level of like validation
Yeah, but just
to
also
just confirm.
explore.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, just also explore what all information, right? Just don't say, I'm sending these values. Can you recognize them? Not only that, just say,
Mhm.
okay, what all values do you recognize, right? What all information can we send across?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that will help
Mhm.
you maybe create some backlog stories or some more info, things that you might want to do in future, just because that capability is already there.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
And maybe we need to explore more on that. Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
as per my understanding, whatever the response we got it, but since we are in the discovery phase, I didn't go into what are the items that we are going to send. But as of now, I know what are the details we'll be sending. But
hmm,
as you said, the header
yeah.
value and what kind of the like authentication we are going through, it will be a token or it will be a username or password. So those kind of things it's not yet decided yet. So that's where I'm waiting on.
Hmm. No, along with that, you also try to understand what all can be sent across, right? So let's say you are sending 10 things, but the other system allows you to send 30 things. So you should be aware of the rest remaining 20 things as well. Yeah, and you should make a deliberate decision. Okay, this is something I'm not sending across. Yeah, because of XYZ reason. It has to be a deliberate decision that
Yeah,
why we are not sending the remaining 20 pieces of information. Yeah.
that is where this API Swagger is coming. So
Hmm.
we will know like what are how the whole skeleton will be and what are the values you can send.
Yes. Yes. So very
Yeah. So
important
that
to
yes,
understand what
yes.
all values can be sent. Don't even
Yeah.
don't only think from the information that you can send, right? But think from the perspective of what all can be sent and what I'm sending, right? There will surely be some pieces of information that you uh, decide later on not to send across. But you should be aware of it. It has to be a deliberate decision that we are not sending this information because we don't think it's useful, or we don't need this capability right now.
Right, right. Yes.
Yeah. So
And we are also making sure the values are not getting stored anywhere in the third party system.
yes. So
Yes. Yeah.
that's a security aspect, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So since you are dealing with personal information, right? So your fingerprint scans and other information is a personal information. So you have to be aware of all the regulatory requirements, maybe GDPR or other requirements that will apply, yeah, on your data. And you have to ensure that how you're going to retain the data, how long you are going to retain the data, when you are going to scrap the data, how you are going to ensure that this data is not misused, how, whether you are going to encrypt your data or whether you are going to hide your data like that, right? Obfuscate your data. So uh, you have to be aware of what how you are going to deal with the information that you are going to capture in your system as well as in the third party system, and what all regulations will apply.
Yeah, we are currently working on this data protection assessment. Like
Right.
how this will
Mhm.
be done from like just country wise. For
Right.
each country, the PI data slightly gets varied, and we need to know what could be like encrypted and what should be in the browser.
Yes.
We currently working on that. So
Yes.
that's a separate item that's
Yes.
going on. Yeah.
Yes. So security should be a feature in your user stories. Yeah. How you are going to handle the security. So you talked about
Yes, we
UI
have.
as a feature. You talked about request and response as a feature. Yeah. Interaction as a feature. Add security as your third feature in the list. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yes, yes.
Um, okay. So going back to the phase two, where we were saying the request. Yeah. So now you have got all the 30 data points. Put all those data points in an Excel. Yeah. And then say what you are going to send across for each data point. Yeah. So that's a mapping sheet that you will create. So for example, uh, name. Yeah. So name, you will say, um, for example, they are only asking, they only have a one field name. Yeah. And then what you are doing is you are capturing first name, middle name, last name, right? So you cannot say send the first name only. What you have to say, in the name field, send first name, concatenate it with middle name, then concatenate it with the last name. Yeah. So first name plus middle name plus last name. That's the name that you are going to send across. And in your mapping sheet, also have a column for example, right? So for example, Shipra Gupta, yeah, or Naveen Kumar Gupta, like that. Yeah. So uh, have a mapping sheet with a field where where the information will come from, which screen the information will come from, and then have an example out there what values, possible values could be there, and also have a remarks section. Yeah. So if you have to make some special comments about that particular mapping, so have a mapping sheet created for your request, which should be based on the XML that you have received from your dev team or or other third party team or the API. So have all the 30 data points in there and say this is the these are the 10 fields where I'm going to send the data. These are the 20 fields, just keep them blank. So just say blank, 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 blank. Don't change or remove those fields from your mapping sheet. Leave them out there so that in future, if someone, a new request comes, the field is out there and you know that this information is being captured already, right? You just need to do the mapping. So don't remove the fields from the request. Keep them out there, but do the mapping of your screens. And also you have to be aware of if there are any grids, right? For example, you might be capturing different parties. Yeah. So name one, name two, name three, name four. So for example, you are talking about a person and you're capturing the family members of the person, right? So spouse, daughter, son, like that. So you are capturing their different names. So there can be more than one person associated. There might be a grid or multiple information that is getting captured. So you have to understand how that information will loop. You have to send that information in a loop in the request file. So you have to say type spouse, daughter or son, and then the name of the wife, name of the daughter or name of the son, and loop in your remark section you should say loop till you reach the end of the list, like that. Or for example, another case is where you say primary information, right? So you might be capturing different addresses of the person. So you might have to say, although I'm capturing 10 different addresses and I am sending all these 10 different addresses to the third party, but I also need to say which one is the address where the person is residing at, or what is the primary address. So you might capture a primary tick box in your address list, and you have to send out that information to the third party service provider. So or example, so it can also happen that in your system you might be capturing as many addresses as the person want, but the other system only allows you to send one address. How will you identify the address? So maybe this primary checkbox will come in handy. So in your logic you will have to say send the address where my primary checkbox is checked. Yeah, so that's the logic you have to use. So in your mapping sheet you have to give the logic, the screen name, the field name, or any or an example of the value that will go through, like that. So this is the sheet that your team is going to then use. Yeah, have you created a similar sheet, Zevin?
Not yet. Shikha. I have to create.
Yeah.
We didn't go till that mapping thing yet, but because the Swagger is not ready, right? So, but still, yes, we have to create something like this. I can pick it up.
Mhm.
Now I know like where I'm missing out. Now I just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Just give me a minute. I'm getting a request. So maybe someone has a question. Yeah, let's hear that question. Yeah, hi Mo. Hello. Mo, you are a speaker. Do you have a question so far?
Yes, Shipra, thank you for allowing me. My question was when we're pointing or documenting the data points, do we also have to mention where it's coming from, like the source, like database table, um, and where it's going, where exactly will be it placed in the other solution?
Yes. Yes, that's the mapping sheet I'm talking about. So you are integrating with, let's say, system A is integrating with system B, and system A is sending information to system B in the request. So what you will say is you go back to the system B team and say, we have to send you the information. Can you give us the request format? And what they will do is they will give you an XML file or a JSON file or anything. And what you will do is you take this file, copy it into an Excel. And what you will see is this file will include the data points that you can send across. Yeah. Then what you will do is in your same Excel sheet, you will introduce a column and you'll say this information will come from where. Now, depending on the project, so that if you are directly doing a database to database integration, there is no screen whatsoever. In that case, you will define the data table name and the column name and where the information will come from. Other thing you can do is if you are having screens in your system. So as a business analyst, you populate the screen names, and then introduce a column for the technical team, and technical team will populate the data table and database name and the column name and other things. Yeah, let them do that if they want to do that. But otherwise, if you are dealing with screens as part of your deliverables, as part of the mapping document that you are creating, you have to define the screen name from which screen this information will come. Maybe this screen is divided into different tabs or different modules. You then mention which module the field is in, and then you mention the field name where the information will come from. Yeah, so for example, if I am sending the address information, I will say go to party screen, go to addresses. In this addresses, pick up the address which is marked as primary address and send it across. Yeah, or if I'm saying passport number, and I might write a logic something like that. If my ID is equal to passport is available, send the value. If not, keep it blank. Yeah. So the logic I'm going to use to populate a particular data point in the request file that the other system B has shared with me is the mapping sheet that as a business analyst I have to create for any integration project. You cannot do without this mapping sheet. You cannot say, I'm writing user stories and each user story will talk about what value to send, what value to send. No, that's not going to be useful at all. You should have only single story which will say refer to this mapping sheet and create your logic according to it. Just write one story and attach the mapping sheet to it. All your mappings should be in one sheet. Does that answer?
Yes, yes, that makes it super clear. Thank you so much. Now, and it saves a lot of time as a BA. I like that approach, how you mentioned it. Let if it's something technical, let the technical team address the database where they are. We just provide the field name.
Yes.
So that's good. So this is a situation where we're using where the data is going to, their doc template, whatever.
Hmm.
What if we are at a phase where we don't even know, like as w what needs to be integrated? Do I refer to the user stories to find that information out, or is it somewhat like who would I reach out to ask for? They're saying, "Oh, we need integration," because sometimes they're not super clear. For me as a BA to get clarity, who should I be? What would be my source? Who should I be asking that information from?
Yeah, so I can understand it gets very tricky if you are working on a project which is just starting, right? There is not much information available. So, but if you are working in an integration project, you have to first, decide which two systems are integrating. Yeah. So one system may be integrating with 10 different systems. That's fine. But at a particular point in time, you will be integrating with one system, right? So which two systems? So one is your system, which you are working on, and the other is the other system, right? It could be a downstream system which is just consuming the data. It could be an authentication system that Zavin has given an example of. It could be some other system which is taking the information and giving you information back, right? So, but you have to understand which system I am integrating to. Without this system, you cannot work, right? So, reach out to your project manager, reach out to your technical team. First, understand what is the other system. Once you have gotten a clarity on the other system, then try to understand from your project managers, technical team, or other people, who is the contact point from the other system perspective. You cannot work in isolation. Yeah? So if two systems are integrating, the people who represent these two systems have to be in contact with each other. Yeah, they can be technical team, or they can be other teams as well. So for example, if I am saying I'm going to show Microsoft Outlook into my application directly, then I can't just work in isolation. I have to involve someone from the Microsoft team to help me understand what all is possible and what all is not, right? So most of the time, technical teams interact with each other, right? So you reach out to your technical architect and say, I'm looking to create a mapping sheet uh, between my system and the other system. So can you reach out to the other technical person, or whomsoever the other team is, and get me a request format, in which format the request will go. And that will be your starting point before you even start doing the mapping.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. So before we talk about phase 3, any questions so far? I just noticed we have, extended our time. Um, I'll take 10-15 more minutes to try to conclude the phase 3 and the phase 4 of the integration project, if that's fine. Otherwise, if we need to drop, I can set up next week and we can continue our discussion.
I can see.
You can stay. Okay, great. Yeah, we have Anusha with us. Yeah, hi, Anusha.
Shipra, I have one question. I'm sorry. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
And I'm good. Just go. I know that I have joined late, and I just see the title, the BA role in consultancy and
Yeah.
implementation. I don't know how much we have discussed it. I'm pretty sure if you have discussed, I'll go through the recording, and maybe next week or when you are taking the next one, I can ask. I have a small question related to the functional analysis part of it. That is,
Mhm.
is a BA role and act like functional consultant in an implementation project? And if so, what are the artifacts? How does it even start? Is it similar to what the BA does in normal project?
Yeah, yeah. So short answer is yes to both your queries. Yeah, but the long answer will take in the next session. So I think you requested the session for today, right? And because you didn't join in, so we switched over to the topic. Now we are
Right.
talking about requirement documents in an integration project which can be prepared.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah. So let's do this. Just drop me a note. Yeah. And I'll set up a session next week just to talk about the role of a BA in different type of projects. Yeah.
Perfect. Right. Thanks.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for coming and joining in. But yeah, sorry, I won't be able to take it now because we are already in the middle of some other discussion. Yeah. Okay. So let's quickly cover phase 3. So in phase 3, when we say response, yeah, again you have to first understand the response format, right? So how the response will come to you, what all values are all out there in the response. If it's a one-way integration where you are just sending the data across and you are not expecting anything from the other system, you don't you can skip that step and you can say, okay, I'm not expecting any response, just tell me whether it's pass or fail. Yeah, if it's pass, my system will do this. If it's fail, my system will do that. Or maybe there is no action whatsoever, right? So if pass, I don't need to do anything, nothing will happen. Yeah, and user will not get notified, or nothing, everything is behind the scenes, I don't need to do anything. Yeah, third phase and fourth phase are go hand in hand very closely with each other. And if I get a failure response, the failure response will get logged in this log. Some logs will be there, and this an extract of this log will be sent to the support team, maybe, or there will be an trigger in case of a failure. There will be an email that will get triggered and sent to these the people or the distribution list that has been pre-configured. Yeah, so most of the things technical team will take care of it, but as a BA you should also be aware of the process, and you have to define what will happen in case of different type of responses that you will receive. And as I said at the start of the session, it's very important for you to note down the error handling part, yeah, the exception handling. If something went wrong, what will happen? So most of the systems are up 99% of the time, but there is always a case where 1% there is a downtime. Yeah, or it could be a planned downtime where they have closed the system for maintenance, or it could be an out of sudden something went wrong case as well. So every system has a downtime, no matter how good it is, one way, one time or the other time. And you should know how to handle the downtimes of the system, how to handle if something went wrong at your end. Yeah, if the request itself was not sent. So exception handling is an important aspect, which often gets missed and should not be missed in phase 3 and phase 4. So write stories around exception handling, that's usually suffices. If you are giving some messages to the user, you may want to capture those messages in your data dictionary from documentation perspective. Response, if you're getting the response, how you're going to handle the response. If it's a single or one or two pieces of information that you're getting in a response, you can very well note down in the user story. But if there are more pieces of information that you are getting out, so for example, if I'm sending just a person's thumbprint and I'm getting the person's name, address, passport number, date of birth, and all the other pieces of information, then you might want to create a mapping sheet of, this is the information I will get, where in which screen I will represent this information. So this mapping sheet will be a replica of your mapping sheet that you created for the request, but opposite of it, right? So previously you were saying which value will go where, and now you are saying in the response what value I'm getting, where will I show it on my screen. Yeah, so if data points are more, create a mapping document. If data points are 1 or 2 data points, it's okay to write them in the user story, and have at least one story which will cater for your exception handling. What will happen if something went wrong? Yeah, don't capture it in the same stories. Have a separate story for exception handling, and you will realize there can be more scenarios that you might be thinking of. So there is an exception can come if the request itself is not getting created. An exception can come that if you are not getting the response itself, how long are you going to wait for the response? Is there a timeout that will happen? So system will wait for a response for 10 minutes, let's say, and after that system will say, okay, I'm not getting a response. What system should do in that case? Yeah, if you are getting a response but you are not expecting, or the response is not in the format that you are expecting. So for example, you are expecting first name and last name to come in the response, and the tag itself is missing. That information itself is not coming in the response. How will you handle the system then? If you are getting the tag and the value itself is not the value you are looking for, so you are expecting a number or an amount in the response, but you are getting a text ABC, how you will handle that, right? So different kind of scenarios can be there, and your exception handling story should talk about all these different scenarios. Yeah, but yes, response
Yep.
and handling of response is usually not document heavy, but your request and the UI part, the first phase and the second phase, they are document heavy, where you note down lot of things in different documents. But in the later things, phase 3 and phase 4, you don't document that much. Simple user stories usually suffice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so think of, and try to involve your technical team and check with them, okay, what all can go wrong, what all different scenarios are out there. And always, what I do is I always create generic. I always try to introduce a generic statement. If a technical exception handles, if a technical exception is there because of any reason, including following reasons but not limited to them. Yeah, and the reasons could be uh, invalid response received, response not received, timeout happened, like that. So I introduce few things, but I always say, including but not limited to following reasons. Yeah, so this gives you some leeway in sense of, okay, there was some other scenario that you have not thought of, and that will get you covered when you say, including but not limited to. So I'm very fond of this phrase, and I always use it. I quite often use it. So you can try that as well.
Yeah. We have certain scenarios as per this, the waiting time and what should be the response and where the customer has to be taken into. And there are some situations where the customer put the system in idle, or they just left it half open.
Mm.
So we defined this, the time, like how much of time will take for this, and how much of time for this session timeout, and all these things are being captured as, again, as user stories.
Hmm.
Yeah, I need to
Yeah, I
create it
think
there
that
in
will suffice. Yeah.
like document level somewhere, as you mentioned. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So if there is too much information, then go for a document. Otherwise, it's okay to leave this information in user stories as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But
Um,
still, we need to record it. At least I can keep them in the confidence stage, so that anyone can refer
hmm,
and understand.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That will be helpful to the support team. Yeah. Think from support team perspective. So if you say to yourself, I'm not involved in this project whatsoever. I don't know anything about this project, right? Now I am getting a responsibility of handling this project after it has gone live. What all will I need? Yeah. How can, what all will make my life easy?
Right. Right.
Think from that
Yes.
perspective, just take, so as a VA you have to wear different thinking hats. Yeah, you have to first of all wear from a hat from the client perspective, what client wants. Then you have to think from the dev team perspective, what dev team wants. You have to put up a hat of QC perspective, what QC team wants. Then also put up a hat of support team perspective, what support team wants. Think of from project management perspective, right? What all will help them streamline the conversations. So every time they have to come and ask for a status update, is it not better to provide them a status update before they even ask? Yeah. So when you start wearing different hats, when you start thinking from different perspective, you will make the life of other people easier, and that's the value that you are giving to the project, and that will make your services exceptional. Yeah, anyone can go to the client and say, okay, what do you want, and note it down, right? Anyone can do that, but how, what value you are bringing to the table, that's make you exclusive. Yeah, that make people appreciate you, because you are not only thinking from the client perspective, but you are also thinking from dev and QC perspective. You are also making their life easy, and that's the value, which will set you apart from all the other people. I don't want to brag, but I've received a feedback that I set the expectation so high from everyone that other VAs are not able to catch up to it, right? Because I bring value to the table. Sorry for bragging, but uh, that's what I ask others also. So don't think that BA is just a job that you have to do. You have to go at 9 and come back at 5, right? Think how you are making other people's life easier, and you will also get a satisfaction, right? That I did something valuable.
Yeah, I agree with the last point. At the end of the day, you should feel something you done better.
I'm sorry.
At the end of the day, you should feel something. Okay, we have done this.
Yes.
In
So
question.
at the
Yeah.
end of the day, feel that I have done something useful, right? I have created something.
Right.
So
Right.
I always see my requirements as my baby, as something I created. So and when those things go live, it's a great satisfaction, right? Seeing something going live with what you just thought of. Okay, I'll do this, right? But we'll do this. But once you can see it on screen, once you give a demo, that's I personally feel very satisfied when I do that.
Good one, Shipra.
Yeah. Anushi, you are trying to say something?
No, Shipra. I'm very pretty new to this X platform and things I'm just exploring. I'm so sorry for that.
Again, no worries. No worries. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it from my side, Zavin. I hope that answers your questions and sort out some of the things for you.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does have opened up a lot of things, and now I'm looking into the items that are still needs to be documented, and as you said, in a support perspective as well. So
Mhm.
it's a great session, and your experiences are really on point. So I can take it forward from here. Thank you so much, Shipra.
Yeah, glad to be of help. And this recording is available on X platform for another month. So if you want to revisit, you can revisit it for another month. I will also try to record the session and put it on our YouTube channel so that it's available for others as well. But yeah, you can
Sure,
reach
sure.
out to me if you have any further queries. Yeah, I hope I have tried to explain as much as I can.
Yeah, yeah,
So
right.
okay, so Anusha, don't worry. We'll take up your topic next week. Yeah. But please be on time, yeah, because otherwise, whomsoever is out there, I'll just ask the person, which topic you want to go with.
I get it. That's my bad. Next time
Yeah.
for sure. Thanks a lot.
Great. And I'll answer all your queries, sir, yeah, including your question today. So, but yeah, I was sorry I was not able to switch over the topic in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks a lot.
Great. So, shall we wrap up for today and maybe catch up next week?
Yeah, sure, Chitra.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks
Yep.
again.
So,
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shipra.
everyone.
thank you. Thanks for joining in. Thank you. Thanks a
Bye,
lot.
everyone.
Bye bye. Happy weekend.